They thought I'd just cry and move on. They thought they could take everything from me, my idea, my career, even the man I loved, and I'd just disappear. But they underestimated the wrong woman. I wasn't loud. I wasn't the type to scream in meetings or post cryptic quotes online. Number I watched. I listened. And I remembered. I remember the night he came home late, reeking of cologne that wasn't mine. I remember the board meeting where my boss pitched my idea word for word while I sat in HR being accused of fraud. Fraud that he set up. With forged documents, fake emails, lies. I went from being the rising star of the company to the girl who couldn't be trusted. My promotion? Gone. My project? Stolen. My fiancé? Sleeping with the man who ruined my life. But what they didn't know was that I never stopped documenting, never stopped tracking, never stopped preparing. Because the truth? I didn't want justice. I wanted revenge. And when I was done, I didn't just get my career back. I burned theirs to the ground. I used to love my job. I was the first one in and the last one out. The kind of girl who brought fresh ideas, helped others with their projects, and stayed behind when no one asked me to. I thought hard work would speak for itself. I thought loyalty meant something. And for a while, it did. I was on track for a promotion, creative director, something I'd worked toward for 4 years. My project, an app designed to revolutionize how we handle logistics, was getting attention from the board. My boss, Daniel, used to praise me in every meeting. He'd say I was the future of this company, and maybe I believed him a little too much. What I didn't realize was that Daniel wasn't just watching my work. He was watching me, watching the way I stayed late, the way I avoided office gossip, the way I trusted too easily, and he used it. Slowly, subtly. First, he started helping me with my project, offering suggestions, tweaking things without asking. Then he asked me to send him drafts, so he could review them before presentation. I thought he was mentoring me, but he was collecting everything I'd built. Meanwhile, at home, my fiancé Alex started acting distant. We'd been together 5 years. We were supposed to get married next summer, but he stopped coming home on time. Started getting calls from work at 11 p.m. I asked him once, "Are you seeing someone?" He got defensive, told me I was being paranoid, so I let it go, because I was exhausted. I was trying to hold on to my job, my project, my dream, and the man I thought loved me. Then came the crash. It was a Thursday. I showed up to work early like always, but when I tried to log into my computer, access denied. My badge didn't open the door to the creative suite. People were whispering. Then HR called me in. They said there was an internal investigation, that there were suspicious payments linked to my account, that I was being suspended while they looked into fraudulent financial activity. I couldn't breathe. I didn't even know what they were talking about. I never had access to the company's financial systems. I built products, not budgets. But none of that mattered. Because the files they showed me, they had my name on them. My email, my login, and worse, a digital trail I couldn't explain. Because someone had created it. Someone had framed me. I walked out of that office numb. I couldn't call anyone. I didn't even know who I could trust. Not my coworkers, not HR, not even Alex. But I went home anyway. And that's when I saw it. His phone, left on the kitchen counter, unlocked, with a message that popped up before I could even reach for it. It was from Daniel, my boss. Same time tonight? I stared at it, trying to understand. Then I opened the message thread. Dozens of texts, pictures, hotel confirmations, voice notes. My hands were shaking. I pressed play on one of the recordings. It was Alex, laughing. She still thinks we're getting married, poor thing. I dropped the phone. My ears were ringing. In 1 week, I had lost everything. My job, my idea, my future, and the man I thought I'd spend my life with. But that was also the moment something inside me went cold. I wasn't going to cry anymore. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't even going to confront them. I was going to do something worse. I was going to wait. I was going to watch. And when the time was right, I was going to make them pay. The first thing I did was disappear in purpose. I stopped answering messages, deleted social media, and let people think I was broken. Good. Let them think I was weak. Meanwhile, I got to work. I started with the digital files. I knew the app was mine. Every line of code, every UX sketch, every early prototype, I'd created it on my personal laptop before ever showing it to Daniel. Lucky for me, I had backed everything up to a private drive. Timestamps, metadata, screenshots, video logs. I spent 3 days organizing every shred of proof I had. Then I created duplicates and saved them to encrypted cloud folders under fake names. Next, I needed access. Daniel had changed the project name when he presented it to the board, pretending it was his concept. But he was lazy and arrogant. He hadn't changed the file paths or internal tags. I used a friend who still worked in the company's IT team, a quiet guy named Marcus, who owed me a favor from 2 years back when I helped cover a mistake that could have gotten him fired. He didn't ask questions. He just gave me a guest login under a ghost profile that let me view internal documents. What I found made me sick. Not only had Daniel passed off my work, he was negotiating with outside investors using my app as leverage, asking for millions in personal bonuses and exclusive licensing rights. He was going to make partner. And he was doing it on the back of my ideas. But the worst part? Alex was listed on the investor documents as a silent advisor. That was when it all clicked. They had planned this together. My boss and my fiancé. I wasn't just collateral damage. I was the mark. They knew I had something big. They knew I was too trusting. So they set it all up from the start. I almost let the rage take over. Almost sent the files to the board right then and there. But I didn't. Not yet. Because I didn't want them to just get fired. I wanted them to burn. I started tracking their movements. When they met, where they stayed, the hotels, the dinners on the company card. I logged every charge, every location, every person they lied to. And while I was watching them, I rebuilt myself. I updated my resume, reached out to former mentors. I even launched a fake startup under a different name using my original app idea and pitched it to a rival firm quietly, anonymously. And guess what? They loved it. The deal wasn't final, but it was in motion. All I needed now was timing. The final blow had to be perfect. I waited until the company held its annual Innovation Summit. It was a big event press. Investors, board members, the whole executive team. Daniel was set to present the app, take credit publicly, announce a new phase of funding. And that morning, before he stepped on stage, I sent one email, not to him, to the board, to the press, to every senior executive. The subject line: Proof of intellectual property theft, time to know the truth. Inside were files, screenshots, time logs, financial discrepancies, copies of hotel invoices, and one very clear message. You trusted the wrong person. And while he was stealing my work and using company funds to sleep with my fiancé, I was building something better. 10 minutes later, Daniel walked on stage. And while he was talking, phones were buzzing in the audience. Executives getting the email, investors reading the documents, PR managers leaving their seats in panic. By the time he finished his speech, the room was dead silent. Then someone whispered something into his ear. I watched from the back row as the color drained from his face. The board called an emergency meeting. The press started asking questions. And me? I just sat there, calm, quiet, waiting. The fallout was immediate. Daniel was escorted out of the building within the hour. The board had seen enough. The financial irregularities alone were enough to freeze his stock options. But the icing on the cake? The affair. The company had a strict anti-fraternization policy, especially when it involved client-facing deals and conflicts of interest. He broke all of it, and not quietly. The media latched on like wolves. Headlines exploded. Top exec accused of stealing startup idea from female employee. Corporate scandal involves fraud, affairs, and secret recordings. Suddenly, Daniel's name was everywhere, but not in the way he wanted. Meanwhile, Alex tried to contact me, called 15 times, left voice messages crying, apologizing, begging to explain. He even showed up at my apartment once, pounding on the door at midnight, yelling, "It wasn't what it looked like." But I didn't even answer. He was nothing now. Just another piece of collateral damage in a war he helped start. And me? I had options. The rival firm I pitched my app to? They offered me full control, founder status, equity, a seat at the table. I walked into that meeting with a new name, a new vision, and most importantly, all the power. I signed the deal 2 weeks later, right as Daniel's world was still burning. He tried to sue me for defamation, but the evidence I had? Bulletproof. Every file time-stamped, every conversation recorded, every accusation backed up by hard data. His lawyer dropped the case within days. Word spread in the industry. He became toxic. No firm would touch him. Alex lost his side contracts too, turns out. Reputation matters when you've stabbed your partner in the back and the whole world knows it. And then, silence. The kind of silence that only comes when justice isn't loud, but complete. Months passed. I moved into a new apartment, started hiring my own team, built something better than the company that once tossed me aside. And on the day we launched the new app, I posted one photo on my old account, just a screen showing the login page, and the caption, "Built by the girl they tried to erase." It went viral. Thousands of women messaged me. People shared the story, and for once, I didn't feel like the victim. I wasn't the girl who got betrayed. I was the girl who survived it and then turned it into a weapon. I don't believe in revenge for revenge's sake, but I do believe in taking back what's yours. And if you ever find yourself in the same place I was, betrayed, broken, discarded, don't waste time begging them to treat you better. Just take your time, gather your power. And when they least expect it, make your move. Not loud, not messy, just final, ruthless, and unforgettable.